Hello, everyone. Welcome to Black Cats TV, an official Premier League podcast for Sunderland AFC.
You've
It's not
got
official.
12
We're no
months to
affiliation,
enjoy that.
but I just want to enjoy it while we can. Yes, we are here, and yes, we are starting with a bang with 6.5 billion transfer rumours. But before we do that, let's talk about the outs, because that's what we're going to have to replace, as well as squad depth, right? So the first one we already know, the winning goal to get us in the Premier League came with his signing, Tommy Watson. He's gone. He's done his shirt pick, everything. He's gone. It's official. So that's 10 million in the bank, right?
Yep, with the potential sell-on fee when Chelsea inevitably buy a Brighton player for 200 million in the future.
Which would be nice.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the Bellinghams, the ongoing Bellingham.
The saga, shall we call it? Yeah, saga.
Yeah. I mean, do you think he's gone? Do you think he's going? It sounds all but done.
Yeah, I think it is all but done. I know there's a few people reporting every now and again that are like, we're still trying to keep him. And I think it's because we know we're not in a weakened position if he does go, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, we've got the Watson money. We've got a lot of money coming in from winning the playoff game anyway. We've got a good chunk of money coming in if we sell him. So I think we're very much like, yes, it would be a shame, but we'll just go on to plan B and all the other rumours that I'm sure we'll get onto in this video. I think he'll go. I don't see him having a sudden change of heart to give us one more year. So I think he's probably gone. And fair play to him. Good luck to him. And you've done exactly what you needed to do, basically.
And what do you think we'll get for him? His release clause is like 30 odd million, right?
Yeah, I keep seeing rumoured like 33 around that figure there, but there's apparently like a gentleman's agreement in place about how he can go and things. I imagine we've got that release clause at 33, but we're trying to negotiate with clubs to be like, well, if you want to go 25, 26, that's fine, but we want this sell on. And we want this if he plays this many games for you, and this if you win or qualify for Champions Leagues or stuff like that.
So
I think we're trying
to then to trigger the release or give us the extras.
Yeah, I think we're just sort of going, well, we might not have the money we want now, but we're protecting ourselves and future money coming in for those stipulations, which is again a smart move and what they've always done with our strikers. Strikers are players that we've sold anyway. Clark. If he plays this many games for Ipswich, then he'll trigger another amount of money. Ekwa, I know he's coming back, but it was a thing of like, if he plays a certain amount, then they'd have to buy him, and he didn't quite hit that.
No,
we're just trying to be clever, aren't we?
Yeah, and the other one, which I was kind of like slightly excited for,
of course, was,
I don't know if you heard it, but Roma were rumoured to be interested in Dan Neil, who's only got a year left on his contract.
Can you imagine them swapping Enzo Lefebvre for Dan Neil like 6 months ago? It just wouldn't have happened, really. But I don't know. Yeah, those rumours come up, as well as I think there's always that inevitable Everton link comes up with him. Not so much at the moment, but I mean, I wouldn't be against it for the right price. There tends to be a lot of Premier League. I
wouldn't be against it for a fiver.
Yeah, that tend to go out to Italy and do quite well. So I imagine, he could easily be one of them, and he's young enough to go out and do that. I probably wouldn't want rid of him. I do think he's a decent player for us and has.
Do you think he's Premier League? He struggled to captain in the Championship.
I didn't. Yeah, but captain's different to playing. I didn't think he was, because at the end of League One he wasn't playing, and I remember thinking, he's not going to make the step up. And then he's had 3 decent years for us. I don't think we can sit there and go, he's been poor all throughout his time. Yes, he's had moments.
He's inconsistently crap. That's worse.
I think you're very harsh on him. The first 20 minutes though in that final, I was sitting there going, what is he doing? And then he seemed to get a hold of it a bit more, and so did the midfield. And it was like, right, this is better. This is calmer, and a bit like we get onto future players in a little while. He just needs some competition or some experience to help him, I think, is what we'll end up needing.
I think we've got much better options on the table. If we're offered any sort of money, if we're offered more than £37.50, I will take it. Do you have any more rumours of outgoings?
There's only the one of about 4 teams interested in Trey Hume. I think it's like Everton, West Ham,
he
and
put a post
Wolves.
up, right?
Yeah, he's done an interview, I think, while he was with Northern Ireland saying, I love Sunderland and I have no interest in leaving. So if anything happens, it's because the club decided to.
Yeah, so he wants to stay. So, I mean, which is great. It's good to see that loyalty, right?
I think
They've all probably got a nice wage rise this year.
Yeah, we're probably going to see, because there's a little transfer window on now until I think the 10th, and then it shuts for a couple of weeks, and then it opens up again because of the Club World Cup that's going on. Hence why we were able to sign Enzo Lefebvre permanently, and Bellingham might be off now. But I tend to think we'll maybe try and poke around a couple of players now.
Do we have 2 deadline day specials?
Potentially, yeah. We'll have... We'll be poking around for another player now because we may as well do it early. But I think in that sort of brief period in the middle is when we'll try and be tie down some of our key players to longer deals and probably better deals for them because, as we know from last season, we were like 19th, 18th in the wages table of championship teams. So you can imagine we're rock bottom of wages for the Premier League teams.
Oh, definitely.
Anyway.
I have no doubt. And even with like the predefined, if we go up, this will be your percentage wage rise. I assume we'll still be quite at the bottom there. But I don't think, correct me if you think I'm wrong, I don't think we have the depth of a Premier League squad at this stage.
No, when you look through some, especially if the names returning from loans, so these ones that are coming back to us are part of the retained list. I think I sent it to you before. Here we go. Where is it? I had it on my phone. So you've got Matty Young, of course, coming back to us there. You've got, Sealt's back with Pembele, Ekwa, Triantis, Bar, Ashish, Brucin, all coming back in, and not one of them do I stop there and go, oh yeah, these are all gonna, press on this season. Do it.
I mean, I'd like Ekwa to come good because I did like him at one point.
I know he was all right, but then I can't sit there and go he was. And I'll be interested. Do you think he would have done a better job than Dan Neil as a 6?
Yes, you're throwing me in a bad position there because
I know. Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell. My answer is some games, yes.
Yeah, but then other games, as we saw in Newcastle game, when he tried to turn one of their strikers in our own box, and it was like, "What are you doing? Pack it in!" So there's them as well. But I mean, I think they'll be the type that we're using for clear off wages, get us little, just to fees in for them if we can, and we just use it, just to financially go. Triantis was the one I thought maybe could, but not in the Premier League. I think if we'd have stayed in the Championship, he would have been one that I think we saw more in the midfield next season. Yeah. But I don't see it this season.
No. So, I mean, that's good at the moment, considering how many players last January were rumoured to be interested from Premier League clubs, Rig and all that lot. So hopefully that's as much as the squad we're
There's a long way to go yet. There's a long way to go.
I do think we need a lot of depth, and I think that's what spurred the fact we've got so many transfer rumours and fan wants, like fans that want certain players and stuff like that.
Well, I think normally Sunderland tend to wait until the very end. I think it's the last 2 or 3 windows in a row we've been signing players, like 4 or 5 players on deadline day each time, like announced in the middle of the night. Like last time it was Abdullahi, Meppen, Samed, and there was another one I'm forgetting. And then the year before you had Bennett, or maybe the year before that, it was like Bennett, Michu, Ashish and Bar all came in like right at the very end as well. So we tended to do a lot of the business right at the sort of the end of it. Whereas I think that they're doing the smart thing here, which is right, Enzo, out the way, you're done. Basically, we've got you over the line. We've not fannied about. We've just gone, there you go, there's your money. Didier Ndong is no longer our record signing. It is now Enzo Lefebvre. But I keep hearing the interesting thing from people like Fabrizio Romano and Keith Downey when they talk about us, that they go, Sunderland have plans that Enzo will not be their record breaking transfer by the end of the sort of window. They have no plans on stopping, which is like good. Like that, I think
it's probably the best financial position we've been in as a club going up to the Premier League, right?
Yeah,
because we're not just going up in a good financial position. We don't have to build a new stadium. We don't have to expand seats. We don't have to do anything like that. It's
no training ground changes at all. Just it's ready made for it. And I mean, do you remember in January when we were throwing was it 10s to 15 millions at like Brereton Diaz and Tom Cannon and that player from Preston. And you're sitting there going, if they were throwing 15 million at them, what are they going to be offering to, clubs now to say, we'll have him, and
Well, I just
we'll go
hope
for
they
him.
do it now and
Yeah.
during the window, because it's when you get to
And
that
for
last couple
pre-season
of
games
days
as well.
Yeah, so when you get to that last couple of days before it closes, that they're going, oh, panic buy.
That's the one. We and they do it, and they normally come through with like we said before, 3 or 4 good signings at the end. But it's a case of, because we know what league we're going into, and it's a very difficult league. Not one of the last 6 promoted teams has really stood a chance at staying up. I think they know, right, we need to get on this early, or at least make some significant improvements to mainly the spine of our team as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about incoming.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's loads. Before we talk about incoming, we had a winner of our predicting the games league. Is it still on here?
It's still on there, yeah.
There we go. Lee won.
You're hidden at the bottom.
With a haul of 3 points.
Yeah.
So
we did start in January, though.
We did. But so we're going to do this all next season, and you could get some goodies. Lee has been in touch. He sent me his size and his address, and there is goods being produced and manufactured and boxed and shipping their way over to him very, very soon. So hopefully he enjoys them. Incoming. So I'll go first.
Okay.
We can spit them out each, but there's lots of defenders. Did you notice there's lots of defenders?
I did at first, but I think that makes sense because, I mean,
for the depth
I know,
of the injury and stuff.
Well, I mean, we haven't mentioned yet that Samed and Meppen have not been sort of signed permanently as of yet on their retained list. So I think we're doing a smart thing here, which is we would, of course, be very interested in Meppen. But there's no point putting all your eggs in one basket and going, there he is, when you can still have a look around and see what's available,
Well, the first one I've got is a defender.
Yeah.
Millwall defender.
Oh, right. Not heard this one.
Jaffet Tanganga.
When we played them twice, I remember thinking, because he used to play for Tottenham, that he was a really good defender, very pacey and very physical. So where's that? What is that one linked anywhere? This is again Weathermen. We're just reading it out. We're not making these. We're just reading it out from somewhere. Yeah.
Ahmad.
You made up Mike Beale to be sacked, and it was.
Yeah, I what was it? Manifested it. That's it. That's the word.
You were ITK. You were in the know.
Millwall defender Jaffet Tanganga is attracting strong interest from the trio of newly promoted Premier League clubs, with Leeds United, Sunderland and Burnley amongst those keen to move for the defender. He's got a release clause that's worth less than £2 million. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer to me.
No, definitely not.
Do you know anything about him?
Well, yeah, he came through at Tottenham, and then I think that's where he moved on to Millwall.
We've had
I remember
good records with Tottenham players.
Yeah, I remember the 2 games we played this season, and I thought he was fantastic in both games. I think obviously it was a 1-1 at their place, and then did they beat us at our place? I want to say 1-0, or possibly we won 2-1. I can't remember now, but
considering
he had a good game both times.
Considering he's got a release clause less than £2 million, it was only 2-3 years ago he was valued at like nearly 12-13 million pounds when he was at Spurs.
Yeah. Does it say how old he is?
So yeah, he's 26 now.
That's still a good age for a centre-back, really, not too old, and we could easily say, come to us, do well for you, because in Venice we've done this with other players, come to us and use us as a stepping stone onto somebody else, a la Bellingham at the moment, a la Clark. I know Clark's going the other way, though, going back past us, but, that's the idea.
Yeah, well, he's definitely
I'd be all for that one if it's true, yeah.
Yeah, he's centre-back and he has played on the right, obviously just to cover people now and again.
Yeah. I think he's quite an aggressive defender as well from memory, so I'd be all for that. He does feel like a Leeds United signing, though, with the way they play in the dirty Leeds stuff, so I'm hoping that we could get in first. 5
appearances for England under-16s, 4 for under-17s, 6 for under-18s, 11 for under-19s and a goal, 9 for under-20s and 2 for the under-21s.
Yeah,
He's gone through the England ranks as well. I think he's got a
absolutely.
lot of potential for somebody who's 26. It's an
And I think
experienced
that
player.
they didn't play him a lot at Spurs, one, because he was there for about 5 years, so a couple of change of managers, but I think he couldn't get past the likes of Vertonghen and Alderweireld and, the other ones there. So it was just a case of he had to
He,
move on to get games.
yeah, well, I mean, he played 11 for Spurs in 21-22
Yeah.
in the league, 2 FA Cup games. He's played in the Champions League. He's had 1 Champions League game as well. And then obviously Championship, because it was
Yeah.
loan and then signing to Millwall. He's had loads of Championship experience as well.
Yeah.
I think
It's
that
it's
would
a
be
yes
great
from me.
one.
If that was a real one, and for the finances involved, if that's true, I would say yes. That's a signing we should be making, even if it ends up being squad depth. But if you think now, if we don't go for Meppen, our defenders are Ballard, 09, and then Sealed.
Yeah. So
Instantly
Tanganga.
he
Yes.
becomes one of your best three
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah. Tanganga is a yes from us.
Yeah.
And I know it's a yes from all of you just because you want me to try and say his name during commentaries all season.
Jaffet.
Javakangangangangan.
Yeah.
Can't even get Meppin right.
Yeah.
So, have you got one? Or do you want me to keep going?
And no. I have a defender as well. This one I think we've seen doing the rounds on X, and a lot of clips of his goals on there. But I'm sure at one point either Fabrizio Romano or Keith Downey were tweeting about Wilfred Singo from
Yes.
which club is he at? Monaco, I want to say. 20 million rated defender. Very physical and able to play multiple defensive and midfield roles. He's also playing in the Champions League, and he's only 24. Is one that we've apparently staked an interest in quite early.
He only signed for Monaco a year ago, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if he didn't play all games, if memory is right. But I think it's an ambitious one. But I mean, look at us trying to sign Enzo Lefebvre in the Championship. We may as well ask the question, and you never know how you're going to turn out, really.
The bigger players we attract, like Enzo, attract other players because they must think to themselves, well, there's a reason he's gone there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that must lend us in good stead for a lot of
Could be connections with Labrie, could have connections with Enzo as well, and just sort of, playing at younger levels, you never know. They might have sort of, reasons.
Transfer market have him down at 25 million euros.
Yeah, so it would be an expensive one, but I think instantly, if he were true, would be the best defender on our books. Absolutely.
Right. Best defender, however, he's played more games in right midfield. 102 games in right midfield with 8 goals, 12 assists. Only 59 games as a centre-back.
Let's say when those were split. Like, do you know what I mean? If it was youth level and then thingy.
I don't know. It's very ballpark. I don't know if.
Hey, but I mean, we eventually want to talk about replacement for Roberts, so we may as well. There you go. He covers both roles.
He does.
Get Tanganga. He can go right midfield.
His last season was all centre back.
Yeah.
So maybe he's developed into that position, but and it's just taking time. But I like the look of him. I'm not sure.
It screams of
it's a hell of a jump in
Yeah.
the price tag from who we've just spoke about to him. So is that the same jump in caliber of player?
Yeah, absolutely. It's he plays in the Champions League or Europa League, whichever one they play in. And I think we're being ambitious, and there's nothing wrong with being ambitious and going, actually, let's have a look at these players again, like Enzo. Who would have thought in the Championship you'd be able to get someone like him? But we did, and we asked the question. And we may as well ask the question now of these other players who clearly see Sunderland as I don't want to say a stepping stone, but as a method to play more games in front of big crowds, Premier League crowds now, and Premier League teams test themselves, and who knows, maybe move themselves on to top 6, and things like that in the future.
We can't discount the fact that we are playing Premier League football next season. That is a massive pulling power for a lot of foreign players as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And we might be being smart and going, okay, well, if we go up, we'll pay this much for you, but we'll have almost the same as a release clause if we go down. Yeah. Then we at least sort of try and level out the losses if we do.
Yeah. So, cool. Is that a yes? I think it's a yes, but it's a big budget yes, that one for me. Yeah.
It's a budget swallowing. Yes, please, if we could. But we'll have to see how that one develops. It does keep being linked, and he keeps cropping up. I think the Echo mentioned it once as well. So it's
He was mentioned in a swoop for a duo, right? That's the one when he was mentioned.
Yeah. With maybe the next one that you're about to mention from Wolves.
Was that be Tommy Doyle?
That would be Tommy Doyle, formerly Man City and Sheffield United. Tommy Doyle.
Yes. So Tommy Doyle, I've not got where the reports initially from, but we know, like you just said, the Echoes reported it. Several people have reported it.
Yeah.
Now, what's your thoughts on him? Obviously, a City player in his youth, up to the age of like 21, and then signed for Wolves. I don't know. I don't think
he was on loan at Hamburg,
signing Wolves players.
Well, he was on loan at Hamburg, Cardiff, Sheffield United, Wolves, and then he signed permanently for Wolves at the start of the season. Was playing pretty much week in, week out, and then the new manager came in, and he was no longer in favour with that manager. Hence why he might be available. I think I don't know who it was. It might have been Team Talk. It might have been someone else was mentioning that the payment for him might be as little as 3 million. For a Premier League central midfielder who's still only 23. I think it's more he fits the type of profile player we go for, if that makes sense. And he plays in a similar role to Job. So I think that's why they were looking at he is a realistic option.
He's not a Job replacement.
You don't have you watched him play?
Yeah, well, it's just not, is he?
No. Well, who is a Job replacement then? Who go on?
Someone with 3 times that price tag. No, I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. I think we should aim our sights higher than that. Genuinely.
I think he'd be a quality signing for us. I really do.
All right. Well, I'm on the fence, and Conrad's a yes for that one.
I'm just saying yes to any player at the moment. Have you noticed?
Yeah. Yes, everyone.
Yes, take them all.
Have you got any? Or do you want me to keep going?
The only other one I keep seeing on a list for a loan deal is what I thought when I first saw it was all right then, and then seems to be gathering speed with a lot of clubs is Oscar Bob from Man City on loan. Obviously, last year he had an injury which kept him out of the team quite a lot, but there's talk of him being sort of loaned out to get his match game sort of stuff back up.
Would they loan him to another Premier League team?
Well, he can't play against them, and they would probably look at Sunderland and go, "You're not a threat to us." Do you know what I mean? It's not like they've loaned him to Arsenal or Liverpool until we win the Premier League next season. No. I think it's one of those that again, teams look at us, and I know there were failed experiments of like Burstow and not so failed experiment of Ahmad, and Dan's is a failed one. But teams in the top 6 or Premier League will loan us players because they know they will play, they will get game time, and they will develop. Even if you look at when we took Ekwar from West Ham for nothing, and when we inevitably sell him, they will just get some kickback from that because we took the chance to play him. Sirkin, I think we got him on either nothing or the cheap, and eventually if he goes, we'd have to give Tottenham some money back from again. With Jack Clark, it was a similar thing. We got him on the cheap for futures. Teams know that we're going to play these players, make them better, and then, they'll get something back for them. So if they were looking at that one, they go, well, he's going to play, and they're a Premier League team.
And at 21, he had 8 appearances in 2023 for the Norway national team, including 2 goals, which at that young age...
But more importantly, he scored the winner at St James's Park against Newcastle either a season or 2 ago. And what a legend that is. So that is a straight yes.
I mean, one of those goals was against Faroe Islands, so,
Yeah, but no one cares about that one. Everyone cares about the goal at St James's Park where he mugged off Trippier and rounded Nick Pope.
Yeah, well, I mean, he would be a great quality signing. Fits our model. I know it's not a permanent signing, but still bringing in young players, how well we develop them. It could be
plays anywhere across the front or probably more central and right-sided, but he's an attacking midfielder. And
let's be fair, City's got that money where we could say, yeah, we'll have him and we'll pay 30% of his wages. You don't have to foot the whole bill either. So that's a definite yes for me if we could get him over the line. As long as he doesn't turn up with a back injury for an entire season, something ridiculous like that, because that would happen to Sunderland
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think Liverpool owe us one in terms of that. We need to
100%.
go in and go, right, who are you giving us that we shouldn't really have, but you're gonna give in to us because of what you did last season.
Well, because you've said Liverpool always won,
Mm-hmm.
I will mention another player,
Okay.
Ben Doak.
On loan at Borough last season.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and will be loaned out again.
Yeah.
Would you see him
Right
in a
midfield
Sunderland
as well.
shirt? Yeah.
From
He was an
the little I
asset
saw,
to Middlesbrough.
yeah, from the little I saw of him when he came off the bench against us at the game at the Stadium of Light, and some assists that he was getting, or even just involvement in team goals. I think he's only 19 as well, if I want to say as well. So I think he almost feels like a natural, like, succession to Roberts in that position. Obviously, if we get him permanently, that would be amazing. But if it's a loan at first, I mean, look at our record of loaning right midfielders from Manchester United as well. They really worked out well for them. So,
and another young lad who has had 6 international appearances for the full adult team. I know it's Scotland. Me and you could make the Scotland team, so it doesn't really count. But still, it
we
shows
might have a
he
lot
can
of Scottish
play at them
fans
levels.
here, so I will not be saying that.
He does have a hamstring injury at the moment. So
then definitely sign him. That's what we do.
That's what we do.
100%.
We
Wait,
knew
can it get worse? Sign him.
Yeah, we knew he was injured because we knew that was affecting Middlesbrough towards the end of their season, and obviously they might have lost their little link with Liverpool with firing the manager.
I don't think he had a link with Liverpool because he was a Manchester United player.
Oh, I'm sure he was a scouser, wasn't he?
No.
Was he not?
Tottenham and Man United.
No, I meant like where he's from.
I don't think he's not a scouser. Michael Carrick. No.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Steven Gerrard?
No, not quite. Anyway,
Jamie Carragher.
But yeah, either way, I think he would be a good signing. It is one rumour that I've seen on X, so it's not the most reliable of sources, and it could be any Tom, Dick and Harry saying it. But another loan signing that could be potential. So Ben Doak was one. The other one from Liverpool.
Michael Carrick's from Wallsend. He's from up here.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. I don't know why.
Dirty Geordie. That's why he got sacked.
It's been a long day.
Yeah.
They're all long days right now.
Yeah.
Another Liverpool one, which could be a signing, not a loan, is Joe Gomez.
Yeah, I've read that one. I think a lot of the Liverpool
EFL
fan
analysis
forums,
is where I got that from. Just so
I've seen a lot of other like Liverpool outlets or whatever you call them on X, sort of saying that he's rumoured to be with lots of teams because he's got a lot of Premier League experience, of course. But I think they're looking at another centre back this season anyway, so it just pushes him a bit further down the pecking order. And with them signing Frimpong to replace Trent, and they've got Conor Bradley, he's not going to get a look in at right back either. One who can play 2 positions across the back, though, so defender and right back would be very versatile cover for us. But he does have a record of injury and not playing a lot, which is a great signing for us. We love that.
We love that, yeah. I mean, his highest market value has been like 40 million. He's currently at like 20 million. So he's still, England international as well in 2017, a while ago. He is 28, so it's a bit old, long in the tooth for Sunderland. So do you think that would stop us?
I can't believe he's 28. It feels like didn't have been around that long. Now, for me, it's one of those ones that I don't think I would splash out that. If I'm going to splash out that kind of money, I would rather look at the Singo. If we were going to go for that type of money, he's a lot younger and gets us a bit more of a sell-on value if he does well. I've never thought Gomez was, and this is going to sound terrible, I never thought he was that good. Do you know what I mean? I thought he always had an error in it. There was a reason he was sat behind Trent, and Trent is the one they always say who can't defend. So when you're a defender who's behind a defender that they all say can't defend, that's a bit of a problem. It's one of them that, I mean, I wouldn't say no to him playing for Sunderland, but I think he wouldn't be... I would still rather have Tanganga at that point than Joe Gomez.
That's mad that you'd rather have a £2 million player than a 20
I thought Tanganga was fantastic, though, and he's a lot younger, but I'd rather have Singo as well.
Yeah.
So
Joe Gomez,
that's my first no.
I'm on the fence. I like the experience.
Hey, if he's
with Ireland.
signed, I've got no problem. He's a Premier League winner, Champions League winner, FA Cups, Carabao Cups. I've got no problem with it. I'm just looking at it from how I've seen him play for Liverpool and when I've seen him play for Liverpool. I'm always thinking he's all right, nothing amazing.
We've done Tommy Doyle, haven't we?
Yep.
We've got another Doyle.
Was it you?
Callum Doyle.
Way.
We've spoke about him in January, I believe.
Yes, we did.
Well.
Norwich. Is it in Norwich permanently at the minute?
Yeah, and we've been linked with him for at least 6 months. So this is not a new rumour. This is an ongoing one. Again, another player that can play both sides at centre back and left back. So potentially cover for all sides there as well.
Did you see his record last season for assists and goals, by the way, for a left-sided centre-back?
No.
I remember when we were talking about the Norwich game, probably when we were playing away, he was like their second highest goals and assists column, yet he was a left-sided centre-back for them. I don't know.
7 assists and 1 goal.
Yeah. But he was like their second highest player with that sort of combined record at the time. I remember when he played for us, obviously the year we got promoted in League One, and thought he was a canny player then. But of course, when Danny Barth came in and we had Bailey Wright, he didn't really get a look in, and then Sirkin was more your left back, and then we had who was it at right back at that time? Because it wasn't Hume, it was. I'm forgetting now, which is dreadful. But we had a different right back, shall I say, is the nicest way of saying it. I'd be interested. That one depends on the money. But another former Manchester City player who's been promoted with Leicester but didn't get the chance to play in the Premier League with them, and then a player that did all right at Norwich. I'd be all right with him, but I think he's in my sort of Joe Gomez category of I think we could do better.
It's funny because out of the 3 or 4 centre backs we looked at, he's the tallest as well, which is always an asset. Sunderland's, great.
He can get an assist. The assist thing really intrigues me. But again, all of these players, I wouldn't say no to them, of course, but I think we could do a better option than a mid-table championship defender.
Okay, well.
Which sounds harsh to say that when he's clearly quality, but yeah.
Well, next up is another one for me to struggle with in the commentaries. And again, another centre-back is Presnel Kimpembe.
The PSG player.
Yes. Yeah. PSG player. There's
late 20s.
Yeah, he's the only problem with him is he's got injuries, Achilles tendon rupture that has been ongoing, and he was out with an Achilles tendon rupture a lot of this year, and he was out with previous injuries as well. So that's the only thing with him. He looks great on paper. Only €5 million a transfer market value, bargain. PSG player.
It's I think we need to be very careful to make sure that we're signing players who are, barring freak accidents and horror tackles, going to be fit and going to be playing.
Not signing players that are due surgery in 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So a bit like when Southampton took a risk on Ross Stewart and 3 years later it's still costing them. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully he plays well next season for them.
So are we going to say no too risky for that one?
I think, yeah. I mean, Ross Stewart was an Achilles injury, and that's why he's only just started playing now. And that was 2, maybe 3 years ago. Kimpembe's late 20s, early 30s, I want to say. Clearly a very talented player, Champions League player, and a quality defender. But I just get the feeling we'd sign him, see him for like 4 games like John Mensah, and then we'd never see him again.
Yeah.
But they would be a fantastic 4 games like what Mensah gave us, but it just you'd want more of it.
Just to switch it up, we'll look at a defender.
Okay. You've got loads. I only have
this next one.
Thumbnail.
Speaking of Ross Stewart, this next one's a Southampton player.
Kyle Walker-Peters.
It certainly is. A right back, essentially, but can play left back and can play right midfield.
The world and his mother's looking at Kyle Walker-Peters, so it's one of them that'd be an absolute steal if we got in there. Obviously, it's cover at fullback, which is exactly what we need because sometimes Sirkin's made of glass, Elise's made of glass, Hume's the only one who's regular, and Huggins is made of glass, and there's our 4 fullbacks. So
he should know Sirkin. He should know. Why? Because
Spurs.
He came up through Spurs again.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone knows everyone.
Tottenham's like our second academy.
Yeah. Well, even from the Roy Keane days of signing 3 or 4 players from Tottenham in one window. He's clearly a quality player, can clearly play in the Premier League. I know he had a bit of a shit the bed season with Southampton, but I think that was more the other 10 players on the pitch, not him. So it would be an easy yes, but I don't see us beating off. Well, hey, lots of other established Premier League teams.
Do you see him getting? If we signed him, do you see him starting? That's the question.
That's the thing, because that means like you've got to drop Hume or Sirkin. I'd see him more as a left back really, because I really rate Hume and he plays a lot, and Sirkin goes through patches and is injured, but Sirkin's a quality player too. So
it's difficult, isn't it?
I don't want to answer the question.
Okay, we'll leave that one there then. As another, we'd be happy, but we'll maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We have a left back.
Should we save some for a second video and maybe just like move on to like him?
Go on. We literally we're at the end. We've got 5 more. I'm sure there'll be 15 more for the next video. It's fine.
Are they all defenders?
No, they're not all defenders. This one is though. Sheffield United defender.
Burrows.
It certainly is. Good guess.
Yeah. Well, he's the youngest one. He's the one that people are linked with, and he's the one that scored that disallowed goal against us. So he's got a worldie of a left foot on him for when people stand in front of your goalkeeper. Yeah.
Good. Again, a bit all over play. He's a left back essentially, so he's cover for.
He reminds
Sirkin.
me of another. It's like another Sirkin, basically.
But he has played central midfield as well. So.
But would you play him as central midfield over, say, someone like Tommy Doyle, who is an established central midfielder?
No, definitely not. But I think we got to talk about squad depth if we can land these players. We're going to have the pulling power on these players because we've gone up. They haven't.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's. I mean, we need fullback cover desperately, and people who can play in multiple positions are, much better assets to teams now than look at Arsenal. They just buy centre backs that can all play across the back 4 really. So that's the way they tend to do it. So it's a smart thing if they can play in multiple positions. It would be an easy yes. He's a still young player, clearly growing up, a great talent, but I don't see it happening. I'd like it, but don't see it happening.
Let's move up the field, right? Just a little bit.
Defensive midfield.
Defensive midfield, you're right.
Yeah.
And another Sheffield United player.
Vinny Souza.
Yes.
Yeah.
This isn't pre-planned, by the way. He's just guessing.
I'm actually guessing all of this. Well, it's because if I'm thinking, when you're talking through them, I'm sitting there going, who would I take out of the team? But yeah, Vinny Souza was a quality. I mean, in that final, he was great as well. I mean, obviously, when we switched it up and moved Job and Roberts into that sort of bit more of a forward role, he wasn't as effective. But he was a very good defensive midfielder. I think I saw James Copley tweet out saying that Vinny Souza was in the top 1% of all defensive metrics in the Championship last season as a defensive midfielder.
Damn it, I had that written down to say it like I knew what I was talking about.
No. Well, at least I said who actually told us, and sort of put it on here.
I'm going to claim credit and everything.
Yeah. It's and I don't know if he played in the Premier League for Sheffield United last season, but again, it would be one that feels like a signing when you come up from the Championship, that Championship to Premier League teams make. I would still like us to look for better, but he is clearly a talented player, and I would take him. But it's that thing of, we don't want to just do what Ipswich did, which is just try and pick the best of the Championship lot and have a go at it. We want to have a proper go at this, and go from there. But, hey, if he wants to come and we can get it done fairly cheap, I think it's a great option for more competition for Dan Neil. But would you take here Vinny Souza, or would you try again with Samed if he was promising to be fit for the full season?
No. Samed, still
not even on
every time you say his name, I think of the 2 assists he got for Leeds United.
Yeah. And Stoke in the FA Cup, but not even on vibes. Do you not see him celebrating at the end? Like just
I did see him celebrating, but he's probably realizes that's his last.
I think
chance
he's
to
the hype
so.
man for Mayenda and just brings him his sunglasses. That's what we want.
He's the shades guy.
Yeah.
Higher up the field now.
Whoa.
Somebody born in Sunderland.
Gio Reyna from Dortmund.
Yes, I didn't even say anything else.
Well, that's because it's like written in the stars that his dad played for Sunderland. He's more of a right midfield, or is he attacking midfield? Is he?
He's an attacking midfielder, and he can play as a right and left winger as well.
Was he at Forest? I want to say
he was at Forest. Yeah, 18 million from Forest. I'll have to look at the season stats. 18 million from Forest to Dortmund.
Just having a look here.
But I mean, could we not get?
He was only on loan at Forest. He was only on loan at Forest.
Get that as part of the job deal.
Maybe.
No? Maybe.
He was on loan at Nottingham Forest in the season 23-24, so not last season, the season before. He played 9 games, 1 in the FA Cup, and that was it.
I'd love to be chanting a Reyna from the crowd again.
Then last season for Dortmund, 15 games, 2 goals. 9 in other competitions as well. It'd be a quality one. And there's the, what do you call it? Is it the romantic side of football where it's like, his dad played for Sunderland, so did he. It becomes the new Haaland played for City, and now Haaland's there again. But better because we're Sunderland and they're shit.
And again, there's opportunity there. Like I say, part of the Dortmund deal. If they're going to take Job, okay.
I see if we were going for him, I think we'd loan more likely.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think it's a try before you buy situation. He didn't pull up any trees for Forest in the Premier League in his sort of short spell there. So I think it's more likely we would go, tell you what, we'll knock $1 million or 2 off for Joe, but can we have Reyna on loan for the year?
Would they put him out on loan? He's had 16 league games and 9 Champions League games for them.
But if you think how many games a season they're meant to be playing, exactly. If they're playing 60 games a season in all competitions and he's getting minor minutes for 20 games...
Yeah, no, good shout on the loan, but I would take him. It
just seems a sensible option, and then it's a bit like when Stansfield went on loan to Exeter City, where obviously his dad played before he passed away. It's that thing of they didn't buy him, but there was the romantic side of the loan. It was like he did play for his dad's club and what have you.
Yeah, right. Final 2, Giovanni. You're a yes from me. Come back to Sunderland, where you belong. Somebody else who belongs back in Sunderland.
Jordan Henderson?
Exactly. The rumours galore for Jordan Henderson. Now, I don't know how many of these are serious rumours and how many of it just... We've been saying it since last season, right? Just as nostalgia, come and finish it. How realistic is it?
I think it's probably fairly realistic. I think if he was going to leave Ajax, I think we would be the likely option to play for Sunderland in the Premier League a couple more times before he retires, because he's 35 now, I want to say. Yeah, he's going to be 35
on the 17th of June.
Yeah, exactly. So he's 35. I think it's one of those that if we don't have to pay anything for him, or he's very minimal and we just take the wages sort of thing, then I could see him giving us 6 months, maybe a year, depending on how fit and well he keeps himself. And he looks fine when he plays for Ajax, and he looked well at the Wembley final when he was there as well. So I clearly don't see him turning up and doing a Defoe and being like, after 10 games, it's not for me, this.
No, but I'd like to see him trying
the full thing. Yeah, and then sticking around afterwards. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, and I could even see him being part of the coaching staff, and then inevitably when a manager goes or is sacked or whatever, taking up that sort of caretaker role in the interim, because he seems like he would be a manager going forward. Maybe not for us, but certainly has that presence about him to do that, I think.
So
it'd be a yes on the right type of deal. I mean, I know we're in the Sunderland fan TV group as well, and Jacob was going, he's a spot-on replacement for Bellingham, and I was like, he is not a replacement for Bellingham.
He's not going to have the mortar for a full season in that position like Bellingham had. You need not at 34.
But he will have better experience and of knowing what to do with the ball and the passes to make. If you think about the passes he used to ping to Trent and Salah down the line.
Have him in the centre with two younger Bellingham-esque players with him, then, what an asset he would be, definitely.
Yeah, and the experience and the leadership. It reminds me of the Bolo's Ending signing, is what it feels like. Like, you just got that level head. Yeah, well, we'll find out. When Singo scores in an absolute worldie for us and he runs off to the side and does some flips, or Mundle starts doing the dancing again, Henderson just has to join in just for the bands.
Cool. Right, the last one I saw was a weird one because Patterson was a hero. Patterson was a hero.
Oh, is it Victor Janssen or Victor Janssen? Victor Janssen, yeah. As soon as he said Patterson, I went, it's the Stoke City keeper, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I rated him. I really did rate him.
He was good.
He was a quality keeper and a commanding presence. But would you want to see Patterson lose his place? Because I couldn't see a player like Victor Johansson coming in and being a second keeper.
No, I think it would be, like when Arsenal bought in David Raya and they were like, but Ramsdale is still number one, but you've got a proper competition as your second now. And then after a few months, Raya took over and Ramsdale never really got a look in again. It feels like it would be something like that, where if he came in, you'd see Patterson starting still, but him right behind. And if anything happened or were to change the way we play, maybe we would go, well, we're putting him in. Patterson's then got a good sell-on for us anyway, but is it that much of an improvement? I mean, I know everyone was talking about him earlier on in the season, and he's clearly a very tidy goalkeeper, but is it actually any better than Patterson? Because Patterson's pure shot stopping is fantastic.
Yeah, and I love him for that. But there's part of his game that should have developed this season that haven't. That we've all said. His command in the box, his command of his area, it's not developed as much as it should have.
I do feel in the last two games, apart from the last three games, apart from that moment where he completely misjudged where the ball was at Coventry and just was like 3 meters away from it.
Pounced on the floor like some sort of cat.
Moment, he was coming out and he was battering people out the way to clear balls. He was catching them. Some of the saves, but that save from Kiefer Moore, I keep seeing it every now and again. I'm like, it's underrated how great that save is.
Where's that presence been all season?
Exactly.
He needs
maybe
a voice.
he's stepping up with it now, and I think we should keep Patterson. And I'm not saying that Victor Johansson or whatever how you say it is not a good keeper and wouldn't be fantastic, but I think unless you're going in for someone like, which you wouldn't get here, I'm just naming names of keeper, unless you're going in for like Donnarumma or someone of like clearly world class sort of. Do you remember last time we got promoted and we had Darren Ward? And it was like, Darren Ward's a tidy keeper. Martin Phillips a tidy keeper. I think we'll be fine in the Premier League with them two. And we went, 9 million on Craig Gordon.
Yeah.
And he was British
Most
transfer record at the time.
British keeper.
Yeah, and it was a bit like just how a statement of like, these keepers are clearly fine for us, but we want better. Yeah. And that's the sort of thing I think if we're going to replace Patterson, that's the type of signing we have to make, and someone who is like a statement goalkeeper.
So if you're Victor Johansson and Sunderland come in offering you that, and you're coming in as a second keeper for the squad depth, think he would take it?
I think if he'd be coming in under that understanding of, I'm not here to actually be a number two. Yes, I am written down as number two, but I'm here to take your position, and that's healthy for a short while.
For both keepers, right?
It can be very healthy in the short term. In the long term, because they can only play one, so neither of them are going to stick it out. And I don't want to see us in that position again. Do you remember when we had Manone and Pantilimon that we used to swap them every sort of 3 games? We'd swap it, and it just never felt settled. It never felt right.
Pantilimon's exit was a bit weird anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I think he knew he was second fiddle to Manone and he didn't like it. I liked Pantilimon. I thought he was all right.
He had the most saves in the season for any keeper in the league.
And the fact that he was like 8 foot tall was like an added bonus that he just reached across the entire goal.
Everyone's jumping and he's just going, yes, that's mine.
If we're being romantic on keepers and the money we spend, I would only ever want to see us spending that kind of money to bring like Jordan Pickford back. But that wouldn't happen. But that's the type of sort of thing. If we're going to make a statement signing, that's the type of thing I would want us to do.
But even if all these players would say yes, would you want to buy all these players for the romanticised thing when we never did that great in them seasons in the
Well,
Premier
don't
League.
forget, Pickford mainly played in a season with David Moyes in charge. And David Moyes was systematically trying to get us relegated. I know that's not true, but he clearly was. When he was like, we don't need Jan Mvia. What we need is a player that costs 3 times as much, no one's ever heard of, and get him in the central midfield in Dong. Oh, what? Kone's your best player. Let's really piss him off, not give him his new deal for a slightly bit more money, and then just sack him off when he's been your best player. Okay, Kabul, you were really good. Actually, fuck off. Like, Patrick Van Aanholt don't like you. And you're sitting there going, you're taking apart this team that Sam Allardyce
I was gutted when
fell out with Kazri. Didn't play Kazri, and Kazri was clearly fantastic.
Wabi Kazri, he had some
bought in
pace
Januzaj, who just didn't give a shit and just was dreadful. And then Inichebe, I'll give him credit. Inichebe was fine, but his injury record just really scuppered it. Do you know what I mean? Just wasn't there. So,
right. Well, I'm out of players. I think we should have a clock.
Sidetrack there.
I think we should have a clock behind one of us. You know, like where you get in the workplace where it says X amount of days without an accident?
Yeah.
I want a clock behind one of us that says 3 days without an Ahmed rumour.
Yeah, because I think you could get that written at the top clearly, and we just, just get a few things on it. Yeah,
tick it over every day, and I guarantee it's going to happen.
I do keep winding up my mate who supports Man United, and he goes, "Oh, we're selling all our players," and I'm like, "Oh, we'll chuck 40 million at one of them." He went, "You can't have him," and I'm like, "No, well, he loves us. He hates you. Did you not see him middle fingering your fans in Malaysia? Well, you never know. We'll have him." We'll take
I'm waiting
him back.
for it. I'm waiting for it. Definitely,
it will never happen. Never happen. But you've got to be in it to win it. You can't win the raffle without buying a ticket.
We've got the money for it.
Exactly. Swap Job's money for him.
Where would he go?
Enzo's, and then think, what? Right midfield.
Yeah, but he linked up well with Patrick Roberts, didn't he?
He did.
Are you talking about replacing him?
Yeah, I'm just talking about full-on replacement of him. Yeah, it was a different Mowbray system, wasn't it, with the overloads on the right-hand side and Clark on the other. But we didn't play as many in the midfield at that point. But yeah, I think you'd have to just like for like, wouldn't you? But I still want to keep Roberts, especially that final really made me see the impact he could make coming off the bench for us. And I think when teams are tiring and they get him coming on running directly at you, could be an asset.
He's the kind of player that when we sign good, great players this season, if we can keep hold of him, it creates a squad depth that's actually got some strength to it,
Yeah, definitely.
So that's it.
Yep.
I hope that was enough rumours, just 1 or 2 players.
Yeah, just the Jesus. I thought we'd have a 10-minute video. We're at 52.
It should get shorter.
Yeah, if people have any others that we've not mentioned, which is probably likely because we're being linked with nearly every Tom, Dick, and Harry at the moment. So please get them in the comments as well. Just remember, we are weathermen. We're not making these up. We're not just sort of reading them, going, "Oh, they're fact." We're just reading them from the sources that we see and just passing it on to use. Yeah,
that's fine. One day we'll take credit for one.
Yeah, you need another Mike Beale incident again.
Well, we will we'll keep our ears. If we,
Someone at work was talking about him the other day and went, "Oh, I wouldn't wish him on my worst enemy," and I was like, "I'd wish him on Newcastle."
I was pitching him to my boss, who's a Middlesbrough fan.
Yeah, no, actually, a friend of mine was a Borough fan who said it, and I went, "You could get him," and he went, "No, thanks." And I was like, "Yeah, you know."
Right, would you like to say goodbye to the 3 people that are still viewing after 53 minutes?
Yeah, cheers for watching and sticking it out to the end. Don't forget, if the 3 that are new, subscribe. It really does help us out, and like the video and all that wonderful stuff. And we'll probably be back next week with another 30 names.
Yes, we'll try and we'll filter it down a bit and make them a bit shorter for you in the future videos. But it's been a while.
I can't put 30 people on the thumbnail. We might do it as a joke once, but I put 4. We've mentioned those 4, but yeah, it's a bit much.
Yeah, we'll keep our ears to the ground so you don't have to. Just stay tuned to us. Hit subscribe. Make sure you got the bell notification on so you don't miss a video in this off season. And we'll see you all in another video really soon. Goodbye.